I tell you, I am starting to pull a Joey. I'm starting to pull a Joey. I'm the new Joey. All right. I'll restart. Okay, so and you guys can hear me now, right? Right. So thanks guys. Christian did see and letting me know that you guys can't hear, although your lip reading skills are pretty good, I guess. All right. I'll spec track. Okay, so this is a quick one. A ballot question in Massachusetts in 2016 was about, there's 4 of them. And there's an article that kind of explains in brief what we're going to be talking about tonight. And if you're on YouTube, you can easily access it. If you want to join in on the conversation, we pretty much let anyone in. If you try to stop the conversation, try to talk over everyone, we're going to kick you out. So it's just about stating your opinions, and we don't want any type of elitism going on, or just we want common people like you and me, to just come in and discuss things that might affect you, that affect others, affect how we want things in the country that we live, in the world that we live. James, who normally does Spanish Talk, he'll be streaming tonight, I think. So when he does, sometimes he doesn't see that I'm streaming. I'll end my stream and then we can go ahead and migrate over to his show. So let me start by reading the article, so people I can go over it. It'll be kind of like a hard bastard style. I'll comment on it. There's really no discussion right now when it's just me, so I'll wait while people join in. All right. So this article was pretty much today. It's kind of a local one. I live in Somerville, so it's the Somerville patch. It's titled "The Law Massachusetts Voters Approved That 13 States Are Suing Us For," by Mike Karaji, Patch National Staff. It was written this morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The seemingly most innocuous question on the 2016 ballot is now a hot topic. In November 16th, with marijuana, gambling, and charter schools on the Massachusetts ballot, one question was decided with relative uniformity. Now, 13 states are suing the Bay State and asking the U.S. Supreme Court to block an incoming law before it goes into effect. There wasn't much inherent controversy in the text of Question 3, which was dubbed the Act to Prevent Cruelty to Animals. It was required that by 2020, all pork, veal, and eggs sold in Massachusetts must come from animals not confined to tight spaces. Hi, Christian. The ballot question was overwhelmingly passed with 77.7% of the vote. Wendell, Irving, and Coleraine, which casts less than 3,000 votes combined, were the only towns in the state to vote against it, which makes sense. Only one Massachusetts farm, the one in Wendell, would be affected by the law. You'll want to read about their story here. And of course, you can go ahead and read this article. It's provided in the YouTube description box. If you're watching from Periscope is pretty slow and laggy. We'll figure that out later, but just switch over to the YouTube one. All right. It turns out, however, that there are many more farms outside of Massachusetts that would essentially either have to change their practice or just not sell their meat to businesses inside the state when the law is implemented. And that brings us to the lawsuit. The states of Indiana, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wisconsin argue in a lawsuit obtained by the Boston Globe that Massachusetts' efforts to regulate farming in other states constitute extraterritorial commercial regulation in violation of the Commerce Clause. Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hall Jr., who is superheading the complaint, wrote, "No state has the right to dictate how the other states choose to regulate business operations and manufacturing processes within their own borders. Simply put, farms that don't abide by the law Massachusetts voters approved cannot sell their eggs and meat in Massachusetts, and those states that say that action violates law on interstate commerce. What do you think? Should a farm in Utah be factored into Massachusetts law, or should the value of interstate commerce overrule it? Let's see. The photo that's in the article itself is a September 10, 2008 file photo where chickens huddle in their cages at an egg processing plant at the Dwight Bell Farm in Atwater, California. So if you actually go here too, you can actually show comments, and you'll see comments within Discus. So there's a lot of people who have their own thoughts about this. And today I would like to spend a few minutes to have a discussion ourselves about this. So currently we have Christian. Welcome, Christian.
Hey, Ebon, what's up, man?
Good. How's it going?
Going well, man. Can't complain. You?
All right. Just tired lately. So what are your thoughts about this, if you have any? I think I don't know. I feel like I don't know how to put this in words. For me, it's an easy one. Yes, it's a law. Other states should know that there's a specific law within another state, so they're going to have to update accordingly, or just not do business with it at all. And so that's fine. I mean, if another state said, "Hey, we only allow eggs and ham and beef, whatever, where it's only cruelty practices, we only allow that," Massachusetts would have to respect that, and they wouldn't be able to do business there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if the reverse happened, we wouldn't sue them for it. But so it just seems kind of a dumb lawsuit. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Actually, they're pretty much the same as yours. I mean, if they go ahead and they go through with this, I think obviously one, it is a no-brainer, and like you said, it's definitely a good thing. I mean, because you see, just in that picture that's in the article alone, you see those chickens huddled together in a cage like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is not, obviously we're sending them off to slaughter, so already it's not an ideal environment, but you're already adding, I guess, insult to injury with the other.
I mean, it's like cruelty free. I mean, that's the entire premise of the law, is we just don't want any cruelty to the animals. Like, we think that have you seen those pictures or in videos where they have pigs in these cages where they can't even turn around, that the cage is so small?
Yeah, oh my God, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, so things like that. And sure, like I don't see. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like they've gotten too big to the point of they're all going to team up. Any type of industry, they're all going to team up if you just go against the grain. Just kind of like how if people want GMO labeling on their food, there's just all these organizations and states that are going to be like, no, you shouldn't have that, because they just don't want it. I feel like that's kind of what it is for this one.
Right. Right, because they're so focused on profit and their bottom line, they're afraid of losing sales if they do cooperate with such laws, such as anti-cruelty, non-GMO, organic, stuff like that protect the animals and ourselves, because we're the ones who ultimately consume that. So the animal's best interest is our best interest too, as well. We're the ones who are going to be ending up eating them. They're whatever's inside of them, whatever chemicals are put in them, whether they're steroids or the natural occurring chemicals, such as cortisol that comes out from stress, we ultimately consume that for the meat eaters out there. And it's imperative, man. I think even too, what they fail to realize, those companies like that and those industries like that, is that people will probably buy more of their products if they had that non-cruelty label, that non-GMO label, that organic label on there.
Yeah.
Because people know it's not a secret anymore. People know what's being put in our food, and not just in meat, but in plants and vegetables and fruits as well.
Yeah, I feel like there's other states, or maybe even farms within those states, where the lawsuits are occurring, where they are following like cruelty-free farms or methodologies, that they're pretty much excited about it because they know that their business is going to be easily accessible within the state, and they're going to have less competition. Anyway, Dominic, welcome. What are your thoughts on this?
No, I agree with you. That's kind of similar to the way the TPP and NAFTA works. If a state, like say California, wants to put laws in that are going to affect someone's production someplace else, they can actually sue California or Pennsylvania or Massachusetts, because it's threatening their business, and it doesn't even have to be their actual business, it's their estimated business. So I don't see those people there. They can either conform to the requirements for the state or just sell their product someplace else. Massachusetts isn't forcing them to do anything. Massachusetts is just saying what they're going to let into their state. If they want to produce a product that's acceptable to those standards, then they're welcome.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to get anyone who has differing opinions from us. I feel like when we have these conversations, we're pretty much, we pretty much agree.
I'd like to see what's the animal rights organization do?
PETA?
PETA. You think they would get involved in something like that, to publicize that they're trying to force states to accept these cruel conditions, when the states are trying to, like, who's in the right here? The person that's trying to stop the cruelty, or the person that wants to perpetuate it?
Yeah,
and force somebody to use the products that they produce that way.
Yeah, and it was a ballot vote. It was something that everyone in the state of Massachusetts voted on if they voted. So it's not like it's like legislature that passed from the state. It's actually a ballot question where people in the state want it. 77% is a high amount. And of course, as the article states, there's only like three counties or towns that just pretty much didn't agree with it. So it wasn't too much. I don't know. So I don't know, while we're kind of thinking, I kind of want to look back and just kind of see what the comments are that are in the discus. Just see, we could go back and forth and talk about their points. So this guy, high definition television, says, I imagine if Massachusetts wanted to pass a law saying people who support conservative policies cannot travel to or reside in Massachusetts, that 70% of Massachusetts voters would probably support that too. And then blah, blah, blah. And then Bob Jeffers replies, except that a question of free speech has nothing to do with the Commonwealth regulating products sold here. Let's stay on topic. So it does look like someone's trying to use an analogy that didn't quite work, or it wasn't in the same ballpark. Let's see. Coco McNasty. The one thing I like about forums is people's names. This is pretty. I just like it. There's a lot of trolling going on forums. We all know that. All right. Yeah. Towns and states have been regulating what can and cannot be sold in their areas for a long time, and there's no punishment for the farms who choose to do what they like. They simply can't sell here because we have higher requirements. That is the entire point 2, having states their ability to make any of the rules they choose to live by. Many conservatives believe Texas, among others, should be able to make abortions illegal. And I entirely agree, even though it's put some women at higher risk. Yeah, I mean, we pretty much have to respect the state's laws, right? Even though we don't agree with it outside the state, it's not like we're going to sue them. So, all right.
Yeah, but it was like you were mentioning earlier, Ebon, it's, either they can comply with the state's laws or they can just not do business anymore.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to another one. TC says the 13 states are right. Massachusetts is attempting to impose its idiotic policies on the rest of the country. This law will greatly increase prices for eggs, pork, and veal without sparing any animals. The voters didn't understand what they were doing when they voted on the initiative. I think I think I see some of the other parts to that article where if that is true, people who are poorer in the state are just going to have a harder time of buying those products. So can it affect? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. How much more is it going to increase the price? Is it going to be that much? I don't think it's going to be that much.
I don't think it's going to double or triple the prices of eggs. I don't think that's going to happen.
But I also keep in mind that, like Christian said, that most these farms that don't practice cruelty types of methods in farming, they're not going to put stuff in the animals that are harmful to them, like maybe feed them just one type of grain and then inject them with like medicines to make sure that they're able to handle it, type of stuff. So it's kind of like I think Jon Stewart a long time ago in Daily Show kind of stated to it. It's that what goes inside the animals that you eat or just the products that you eat is a long-term gain. You might have to pay the extra price up front from buying it, like organic stuff or grass-fed and all this other stuff. But most likely you're not going to go to the hospital. Have high hospital bills. You're not going to be going to the hospital so frequently. So it's like a long-term health, but you're paying up the cost up front. Otherwise, you could find tons of cheap food that aren't healthy for you, and you might think, yeah, that's great because I could survive off that. The thing is, how long? Eventually, you're going to end up going to the hospital. You're going to have something sooner than you would if you lived 10 years since you got that. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
So do you have anything on the subject, Kevin?
Hold on 1 minute.
All right.
If you look at the stores, the price of like cage-free chicken eggs and regular eggs isn't really that much different.
Yeah, and what you were talking about earlier, Ebon, you're investing in your health. That's what you're doing. Yeah. By buying these organic, non-GMO, cruelty-free, grass-fed, whatever, you're making that investment into a happier, healthy life because you're consuming stuff that isn't genetically modified or, just put it this way, isn't handled in the best of ways.
Yeah.
Just to simplify it.
Our food prices are inflated well, I mean, they're cheap, but they're inflated right now just for the fact of how we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like food in general. I mean, combine Snork's hydroponic gardening idea with also proper livestock management, and you can, it doesn't like, I don't know. I just saw the title and I popped on here. I didn't hear all your guys' bits and pieces on it. Act to prevent cruelty. What is this act entailing?
So read the article. It also has some insights. So, hi, Lucas. So acts are just with like being in cages without ever seeing the light of day, except for all the windows are musty. Some are packed so much that they can't move around. Even pigs, they have them in cages where they can't even turn around. They're pretty much facing one way the entire time. I mean, just simple stuff that you probably wouldn't do to a pet. Well, hopefully, right?
Well, I guess veterinarian visits are an exception because if you're transporting your animal or whatever.
Yeah, but that's just maybe one day.
Yeah, it's
right?
not like
Imagine
for their whole life.
Entire lives before they get slaughtered.
Well, most of the time the veterinarian comes to the farm. You never actually take the animals out. Like I don't know if you've ever seen the industrial chicken factories.
Yeah, but Ebon was saying like at your house. You know what I mean? He was referencing it's kind of like a pet.
I'm just doing an analogy. So another thing that other people are saying is, look, we're not dictating other regulations of how they can farm. They can farm however they like. It's just they can't sell it here. They have 49 other states they could sell it to.
Well, I'd like to dictate a couple things to the larger corporations of how to do farming.
Yeah, I think that
they make more money either way. Mm-hmm. If they would make more money and do better. And not have as many people on their ass.
All right, go ahead, Lucas.
Well, I mean, I think that we should be dictating how farmers have to farm because, forever now we've been telling anytime, farmers have smart kids, everyone always says, hey, go to the big city, get a good education and get as far away from here as possible. Don't be a farmer. And for generations and generations, we've had, farmers getting dumber and dumber. And now we've gotten to the point of where they're so dumb that we're about to have another dust bowl, like all of the things that
well, that's not farmers. That's more or less corporations doing that. Well, corporations with government regulation. Well, it's not so much the individual farmers doing it.
Well, no, even on the individual farmers level, there is information out there that is given to the farmers by the corporations telling them more sustainable ways to do these things.
Yeah, not really. Normally they line up a cost with them.
Kevin, wait a second, please. One of the things that the USDA and, even awful ginormous corporations like Monsanto and John Deere and all these things, one of the things they advocate for is they advocate for cover cropping. They advocate for crop rotation. They advocate for buffer zones and buffer strips. And these are all things that were universally accepted after the Dust Bowl as ways to help prevent and fix erosion issues. And now farmers are just completely throwing all that stuff out the window and completely ignoring all of that stuff. And they just don't think it's necessary anymore.
Okay. And we brought up this subject before, and I boiled it down to 4 things. The farmers have an initial lack of capital, and also the corporations, the ones selling the things that lock them into a certain cycle for profitability's sake, you know what I mean, diminishes and kind of reduces their effect of getting onto their own setup and being able to learn and do it a little more sustainably and still generate just as much money, if not more.
Yeah. So let me interject 1 second, quick, Kevin. So even though, if they don't have enough capital, it should just behave like any other business. They should break laws and regulations just because they don't have enough capital. It's because they're a farm. Go ahead. Sorry. Kevin? Hello?
Is he still here?
Okay, that was just 1 point. I wanted to hear the other 3, but okay. When you fix your mic, come back. Man.
It's one of those issues that really shouldn't have anything to do with profit, man. I mean, we're talking about living beings here.
Yeah. Hey, Stark. Yeah, I read another article in the past, and it had something to do with people don't want to live near farms, or don't want farms living close to where they live, just because farms are allowed to do a certain amount of things, how they feed their livestock and whatnot, how they
hey, if you guys can hear me,
Yeah, we hear you now, Kevin. All right, real quick. So, there's all this pollution runoff. What the farmer does. They can follow the laws of the state, but there's runoffs that goes into the water that could affect the water supply. What goes in there, but as long as that passes, it's fine. They might.
Why can I still hear him?
Anyways, Kevin, did you want to continue, and then Mark, if you had anything to say?
Well, out here, I think the Amish are very cruel to their animals. They feel that they're got carte blanche to whatever they want to do to the animals. And to me, a cart pulling a horse 4 miles in 95-degree weather with 80% humidity is not being kind. I had something else, but I forgot.
Sorry. We'll get back to it. Rebel, did you have anything to say? You're muted.
Just let me warm up here. Just
okay.
Talking.
Well, I know that. Have any of you guys ever heard of the chef Hugh Fernley Whittingstall from England?
What was that?
Have any of you ever heard of the chef Hugh Fernley Whittingstall from England?
No.
Well, he did. He back in the 90s, like he sold all of his stuff and bought like a truck he called the Gastro Wagon that it was basically a kitchen on wheels, and it was just a little really old truck. And he took it out and he lived in the countryside in England for a few years, to see if he could live off the land. Then he sold that and lived on a canal for a few years to see if he could do it see if he could rough it that way. And then he eventually sold that, bought a small holding, and started raising his own animals in a sustainable fashion. And as he did that, and as he grew and got bigger and bigger, he decided to undergo a project where he would raise chickens his way, and the sustainable free range way, and then he would raise chickens the conventional way, where they would be all in an enclosed space in a huge chicken house, getting fed, and like sitting in the same space all day, with deformed legs and all that. And whenever you watch the special he did, it was like a 3-part series he did. It really is like really tough to watch, and like he has like several like mental breakdowns, and emotional breakdowns from the stress of doing that because of the way you have to treat the chickens and like the mental block you have to develop from life, because like every day you'll have to pick up like a dozen dead chickens that died over the previous night, and because like taking them to the vet would be more expensive than just letting them die, and like it would take away more from your profits than just like throwing them in the garbage can. And so like they would have to go through, and anytime there was a chicken that had any kind of slight limp or sickness, instead of taking it to the vet like he would with his normal chickens, you just had to take it out to the garbage can, snap its neck, and throw it in. That was the way they have to do it. And it's really tough to watch. And like he's a guy who has no aversion to eating meat. Like he is a carnivore through and through. Like he loves hunting. He loves eating meat as long as it's caught and raised sustainably. He loves fishing. He does not mind killing things as long as you're going to eat it. But whenever he was out there with those chickens, like he just couldn't take it, and you see his breakdown on camera, and it's tough.
What's this guy's name?
Hugh Fernley Whittingstall.
Fernley Whittingstall.
Yeah,
I'll have to take a look. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the special was called Hugh's Chicken Run.
Okay. So does anyone agree with the lawsuits? Anyone that joined in?
I didn't hear it.
So the lawsuit is basically 13 states saying that it's kind of it's illegal for Massachusetts to do that because it's affecting interstate commerce.
That's complete bullshit.
Wait, didn't their rules say that they could still sell their farm products to other states?
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be affecting state commerce.
I'd have to know the specifics of the actual act. Like, what is it supposed to do, and what do you have currently going? Because I know the firing practices aren't so great. Like, you can improve them, get fuel, treat the animals better, have less of a capital cost in some areas, and some areas increase, so kind of level it out. But overall, make more money and be more productive. You got more stuff to sell, more animals, and
Yeah. All right. So I'll go and switch over to read it to you so you can see.
Oh, there is a precedent on the states, trade between the states, on overriding trade rules. If ketchup is used on the product ever, and some people put ketchup on their chicken.
No.
Yes.
No, not this stupid overstate ketchup law.
Are you familiar with it?
That is literally ludicrous. Just the audacity of somebody thinking that's a fucking excuse for something.
It's been working all these years.
Not, I took a semi truck worth of fucking ketchup across the border, and now I'm selling nice ketchup on the black market.
No.
This is like a packet of ketchup. If somebody uses this on something or has it on them and it crosses a border, that's
people use ketchup on chicken.
It's ludicrous.
Regulate chicken anywhere.
Okay, then you say if I bought a car in Michigan, let's say there's some arbitrary crazy law where you can sell a car in another state or some shit like that. You know what I mean? You can apply it to that too. I mean, or what? I mean, you could. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ludicrous to have this idea.
Let's not finish, and then you could go off. No worries.
Ridiculous and ludicrous doesn't mean it's not true.
It's a lie too. It's not even commerce. It's not a business transaction or a movement of large amounts of materials. It doesn't even fucking qualify. It qualifies as an individual, personal, or single person that just happens to have the shit in their car. I mean, how much crap do you have in your car? When do you cross a border? Are you gonna be taxed or fined or some crazy shit for like, you're participating in commerce, you've got all this trash in your car?
You don't need to have the ketchup in your car. It just has to be a product usually associated with ketchup.
The very idea of it doesn't really make sense. That's the example they use, though, and they like to state.
That is the example that got the ketchup rule, yes. Two politicians sitting at a table at a restaurant. Does it use ketchup? That's how it all formed. Hey, we got
I don't understand. What is the ketchup rule?
If something uses ketchup or is associated with ketchup, it can falls under the federal trade acts.
Seriously, that's just effed up. Like, oh god.
I got to Google it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but
does the same thing apply for mustard and vinegar and stuff like that? Like, as if not, then the ketchup thing is fucking fucked up.
I don't know, but I can't. Basically, if they want it done, they can get it done by pulling the right cords.
Then why waste time in court? Or for this voting?
You know what if they win that lawsuit, the thing would be for the people in Massachusetts to boycott those companies for every one of their products and try to get a nationwide boycott going against them for the same thing, for promoting cruel treatment to animals.
Yeah, boycott ketchup for cruel. That way you can help support ending animal cruelty. Let's get it going. # boycott Hunts and Heinz. What are there any other big ketchup companies out there? Like it'd be like boycott big ketchup.
Well, Heinz.
God, that would be tough for me.
You can just go to Aldi or Trader Joe's and get their ketchup. Their ketchup's just as good. It's probably for all I know though, it's probably the same ketchup just with the Aldi label.
Aldi actually hires other companies to make the clones, and the companies are very good at it.
Yeah, well, that's why I figured that they did that, but I didn't know how much of that stuff was similar, or if they hired people who used to work at the same like at the name brand companies to make imitation stuff, because like a lot of their stuff is just like the name brand stuff.
There's facilities throughout the country. There's one in Ashton, Illinois that I'm familiar with, and they just make the house brand of all the different fancy ones. They have people on staff to try to duplicate the recipes as close as they believe they are.
Yeah, I like a lot of Aldi stuff. It's a lot cheaper going to Aldi than to
So,
time.
Walmart does the same thing. The same factory will be making all kinds of different store brands.
Yeah, like that's one of the things about Aldi is if you go into Aldi, even though everything in there pretty much is Aldi brand, it all has like its own invented company and like its own invented brand to give you that illusion of choice as if you're in a normal grocery store.
Yeah, you can call up factories like a water bottle factory. You've got to buy like 2 skids, which is about 1,600 bottles of water, but they will print the labels for you, everything. You just make up whatever company you want, and they won't make it up for you.
Wow.
I had some made up for my mother when she was sick, just to reduce her mineral load because she had kidney problems.
All right. Real quick, just so Kevin knows, switching to Wikipedia for it. So the Massachusetts Conditions for Farm Animals Initiative was question 3 on November 8th, 2016 statewide ballot. The measure will phase out what advocates say are extreme methods of farm animal confinement. And it has a link there. 11 other states already have rules regarding confinement conditions for certain farm animals and regulating sale of such products from such animals kept in extreme confinement. So I don't see any news targeting those other 11 states that have this. So having them actually do this for Massachusetts that's just another oddity. Why Massachusetts? Why now? Why didn't they sue? Did those states sue those 11 other countries as well? And my thoughts is no, because if they did, then it would be easily overruled because it would.
Who's pushing this?
What do you mean who's pushing this?
Well, it's an act, right?
Well,
somebody had to propose.
Someone proposed it and it got put on the ballot and then people in Massachusetts voted for it.
Oh, it's a state like referendum initiative?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I just want to know like you gave a general, where the actual, who determines the specifics on it? Because I could think of a lot of ways that you could really twist that around on people.
Most of it. So let's see. I mean, it says here a referendum, and I'll just show that so people can see it. This is a link to the article by bna.com. That's from the WikiLeaks, Wikipedia, sorry, article. That's Bloomberg article. It says question 3 is on the ballot, November 8th ballot in the Bay State, a referendum that would prohibit egg-laying hens, calves raised for veal, and breeding pigs from being housed in enclosures that prevent the animals from lying down, standing up, fully extending its legs, or turning around freely. So that's it. It just seems like that's all it is
something on the ballot to prohibit what?
From being housed in enclosures that prevent the animals from lying down, standing up, fully extending its limbs, or turning around freely.
Okay. So that's the specific of it.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
Does that qualify for transport?
Okay. Lucas.
And slaughterhouse, or is that just daily feeding and their habitation sort of stuff? Probably
just their daily habits and feedings. I mean, you can't transport transport them in an acre long truck or something.
Yeah. I just wanted to know how. Yeah. Got to buy this new special trailer. It's 3 times as long, and you're going to have to get 6 permits for it.
Let's see.
Yeah, my uncle, he raises Angus, and he lets them freely roam on 200 acres, and he does not do the growth hormone, and he doesn't do the antibiotics. He doesn't do anything unless absolutely necessary. Grass feeds them, and the grass and the hay and all that is all organic. And then when it comes time to slaughter them, he actually puts a bullet in their, like there's a space in their skull where it's almost like an instant death. He doesn't want them to suffer at all.
That's too expensive. It should be a really, really high electric shock. Why waste bullets and have to aim?
The electric shock can result in bad taste.
It doesn't. It's not a for
what?
sure thing. It's not a for sure thing, and they'll sit there and then they'll convulse. I've seen it, and it's sick.
Yeah. When an animal twitches when they get shot. Like they're dead, but their body's still like, I don't know, kind of like a chicken sometimes.
The ketchup rule isn't only for cruelty to animals. It's how they were able to sneak in civil rights in 1964.
Huh?
I put the link in there.
Okay.
So civil rights owes everything to a packet of ketchup.
Okay.
They didn't reference the ketchup discussion on there. Just the restaurant the ketchup was in.
Did the legislators just not read it, and they passed it, that little part, or how did
the ketchup rule?
Yeah.
No, it was a Supreme Court opinion that somebody argued that people would get off the highway that had driven in from another state and would take the food with them and drive out of state. And the person that originally proposed it, I saw an interview with them where they said they were at a restaurant and they said, yeah, we can do this. See this packet of ketchup? What state did it come from? They're in the restaurant. So it was a major milestone when the guy came up with the ketchup idea. So the Ollie's was serving food, barbecue sauce, and was transported across state lines.
That is so stupid. God, that is so stupid.
Well, it's 2 separate ideas, and they're trying to take an opinion and broadly subject it to a bunch of stuff that doesn't even relate to it.
But that's life. That's how stupid things are. You can't make these things up.
I cannot even believe they entertained the idea. I'm surprised they didn't laugh the person.
It's so stupid, it's criminal.
Yeah, the link's right there. It's a very short read. Family restaurant, 200 customers, 11 blocks from the interstate. 50% of the people that ate at the restaurant drove on the interstate.
Okay, I can.
Did you say 8%?
No. Half of them ate at the restaurant. Half of the ones that ate at the restaurant drove out of state.
And this restaurant was placed on an interstate, correct?
11 blocks from it.
Are these people... How fucking retarded do you have to be? You're literally sitting in a restaurant next to a fucking interstate that's literally meant to go interstate between states. It's
Well,
like, oh, this is kind of obvious that it's like, even the situation they're describing. Okay, maybe if it was a fucking restaurant in the middle of the goddamn boonies, like 100 miles away from big roadway connections like that or something like that. But and you said half, so not even all of them. And that's in the best, most opportune situation. This is like incredibly cherry picked, manipulated, twisted, and just a bad idea to get set up in the first place.
but if we challenge it, we challenge civil rights.
It's two separate things.
It's the foundation of civil rights.
The foundation of civil rights is off the goddamn
Not
right to
legal chain
life,
of action.
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Not in the legal chain of action.
How in the hell does a ketchup packet going across state lines for commerce relate to civil rights?
They argued this many days in court. Well, I couldn't duplicate that here. All I can say is after reading this, there should be a black holiday, and it should be ketchup packet day.
I still don't see how that applies to Massachusetts requiring.
Well, the same thing. Chickens, cages. A lot of people put ketchup on their chickens.
Right, but how does that?
That means nothing.
Not a zip.
But that means they would just have to transport them with ketchup, Snork,
No,
and then they could kill them.
50% of the people have the intent of putting ketchup on their chicken.
Oh my
That
God.
intent, then. Okay.
Yeah, but that's over my head because I don't.
Is
See
that how they also weaved in guilty before innocent? You have the intent to do it.
I don't know.
Oh.
This was before, rub-ons.
At some point, everybody has to say the government's completely illegitimate for what it's doing.
Kevin, please don't interrupt Snork. I couldn't even hear what his last sentence was.
This is before McDonald's came out with McNuggets, and there were 6 flavors of packets you could choose from. Just think what we could have had if we had 6 more flavors. We could have had prepaid health and everything.
All right, now Kevin, you can go. Kevin, come on. All right. I guess that's it for the topic. We could talk about other things. There hasn't been any update on
Well, Jones, I think Jones won.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything that James is or isn't gonna do a show. So I'll change the thing so we can go ahead and do an open topic.
CNN's projecting that Jones won.
He's ahead right now.
But it is close. It's embarrassing that it is that close.
Jamarl is all excited over it.
48.8 to 49.5. Is that any range errors of recount?
Say that again.
Some states, if they're closer than 1%, it's an automatic recount.
I think.
And ask for it anyway, even if it wasn't.
All right. Okay, this is officially open topic. Anything goes.
And this is the second candidate that struggled to win against someone that has a very questionable history.
Angel Tibbs said they're all predicting Jones won. It's exactly like a Clinton state swipe. That's where I just came from. I told them about Debbie, and I hope they check her out. I don't know what Debbie has to do with it.
Maybe she's on air or something. I don't know.
Oh, no, now everything okay.
I'm just catching up with the chat too.
I'm slow.
Ditzy Lig. Some people put ketchup on their scrambled eggs.
Oh, I do.
See?
I put ketchup on almost anything.
What if you accidentally put ketchup on? Because, I mean, I put ketchup on hash browns or potatoes, which is usually served with eggs. And so...
I don't mind them on my whipped potatoes either.
Are these Idaho potatoes or Canadian potatoes?
Probably Idaho potatoes.
I don't know. I didn't hear any of them say it.
Oh, no, I was just wondering if you could get citizenship, dual citizenship, and free health insurance.
Got kind of a mini announcement tomorrow. I guess I'll do a show if no one else is. James has Wednesdays off, so he doesn't do one. I'll just announce it then. And then also in a few days, maybe another announcement. Snork, I gave you a direct message on Twitter. I wanted to talk to you about something. I had a simple idea, and I have to give credit to a coworker who retired of mine, because she just started. We had like a company holiday party, and she was invited, and a couple others, but she showed up. She was every time. It's just like people keep asking me about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and so she was talking to me about that, and then it got down to other things, and I think it's a great idea, and it's very simple. I think it can happen, and if it does, it's a way just to spur renewable energy usage or people to adopting it, or because there's going to be a lot of gains.
I'm open to it because I need to do some serious fundraising.
I know. And I think this is an easy way that could probably fund your entire project, Snork.
If that's the case, this might be if it involves a cryptocurrency, a way to pay back the investors.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? Maybe I should just say it now. Do we care? I mean, the only thing is someone else might be adopted, but if they do, I think, in my opinion, it's fine. I just don't want someone adopting it and then not doing it right.
It's fine either way.
Okay. Well, Jesus, open it halfway up for people with curiosities like mine. That was a little unfair. You should have talked to him privately.
All right. So I'll just go ahead and say it, and if anyone wants to do it, fine, go ahead and do it. But this is the plan. So the idea is, like the retired coworker is saying, is there like a cryptocurrency? Because she was worried that they're like in China, they just have these mass mining facilities, and they're fueling it all the electricity with cheap coal. So there's so much, because the power consumption for mining these rigs are very high, because most of them use graphics cards, even if they're not the ASICs. This is our application specific type of circuits, where it's more power consumer friendly, but still they just buy more because they know that they have enough electricity that they can support it. So she was wondering if there's one where you could tie in, say, something like a coin, and so it's just based off of mining it from a solar and renewable source, like solar panels. And I got to thinking, yes, you can. What you do is you build an ASIC, which is an application specific integrated circuit. I think that's what
that is correct.
Acronym. Okay. And so all it does is just a CPU where it's only handling a specific algorithm. and so it's just a very specific processing for just one type of application.
And ASIC often is even simpler than that. It knows the purpose so well, it's just routed in logic.
Yep.
So it happens like that, where something else might take 50 or 100,000 steps. The ASIC might do it in 2.
So there's a coin called Solar Coin, but all they can do is just have a third party go out and read a meter from a solar panel, and if it says 1 megawatts per hour, then they generate a coin. So it's just a representation of how much megawatts per hour from solar energy has accumulated. That's how many solar coins there are, and that way people know how much solar energy has been generated in the world, just for whatever. But this is different. So this would be called something like renewable coin or something.
Can you pay something with it?
Yes.
Or
So
purchase
it pretty much acts.
effectively
Yeah, let me finish. So it pretty much acts like a normal coin, like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Redcoin, Nova Coin. So it's just the same way that you generate it. That the thing is, what we do is we install it on with, like, say, some type of right Wi-Fi for now, but I think we can make it so it might be able to transfer on different frequencies, like radio frequencies, just small enough packets to send. And so as long as you set it up through Wi-Fi to, like, your digital wallet or like your Android or iOS phone, as it's generating, like the solar cells are hooked up. It's hooked up into your home, but it uses a small percentage to run this algorithm to solve. So it's mining at the same time. So it's always mining this coin as long as solar energy.
Well, you're going to have excess production always. Say, can I take a quick second break?
Yeah.
I still wish I could catch on to this bullshit. I mean, not bullshit, but I'm just like trying to wrap my head.
No, you were right the first time.
Anyways, the premise is, whether it's a windmill or as like a wind turbine or solar panel or any type of tool that can generate renewable energy, we work with the manufacturing company that makes them, if they want to be involved, and we implement this ASIC and set everything up so they sell it to the consumers. Now the consumers, when they buy it, they're generating these cryptocurrency coins automatically, and it's going into their own wallet. So basically imagine that being Bitcoin, right? And that coin costs a lot. So not only are they using renewable energy, cutting off on other energy sources, but they're also making money, and it's their own bank, so they can transfer currency in.
Are they really making money though? Like,
yes.
Really making money?
Yes.
Like, are they growing productive capacity in a large
manner? Kevin, yes. The answer is yes, and let me finish. So even in the last week, I made $25,000 on cryptocurrency. I've made more money on cryptocurrency than 4.5 years.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that at all.
So and here's the thing: is they're not paying money into power consumption. I'm not paying, like, you wouldn't have to, when you have these renewable energy sources that are generating cryptocurrency for you. One is it doesn't stop as long as it's getting the energy it needs. Two, you're not paying into electric costs. I mined for 1 month where my electric bill cost like $1,300 in 1 month because the power consumption was so high. Now, on the other hand, what's the incentive for
what was that in kilowatt hours? Do you happen to know that offhand?
No, I don't. I could look it up. But basically, the incentive for manufacturing companies on the side of it, because not only what does it do a boom, because people who are wanting this crypto coin, this is the only way you could get it besides trading for it. But the only way to mine for it is we have to put it in the renewable energy tools. And then of course we do development work on it. So the new versions come out, et cetera. That are more efficient. Older versions, if someone messes with stuff, we change the algorithm. So we just send out like kind of like a BIOS update, firmware update. So it changes things within the ASIC. And then so the thing is the companies that manufacture these renewable energies applications like the solar panels, they get a cut. So while you're generating a majority, mining it for yourselves, the consumer, they'll get like say 99%. The manufacturers get 1% of what they sell back to them. So it's kind of like a 1% fee that most wallets and most cryptocurrency exchanges have. So 1% cut on, say, a cryptocurrency that might end up being $20,000 in value is a good amount, and especially if there's going to be thousands of them that a company gets. So it's kind of a long-term investment. Go ahead, Rebel.
Okay, what I want you to do is make an analogy for me of what cryptocurrency is. It is like what?
I'll try to go on a whiteboard. Let's see. Oh, I could do it on here, I think. No, wait, I'll do it.
Because I really want to get my head totally wrapped around what it is, how it works.
Okay, give me a second. I'll see if my share screen whiteboard can work. Let's see.
I can't be the only stupid one.
All right, here's the whiteboard. So let's just use, wow, I need to get my thing. So here's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is pretty simple. Can you see on YouTube? Is it good? Okay. So Bitcoin is just a currency, and this currency is just about exchanging things. And now what it is you've got a block, and that's why they call it a blockchain. And all this block is just a lot of work, right? It's just work. Because within this block,
like work.
It's transactions. So you've got a public ledger of transactions. So say you've got this public ledger, and within this ledger are blocks, and these are all the transactions that occur within a confirmation cycle. Just basically, in order for all these transactions to be logged into the ledger, this block needs to be solved. So what you have are miners who mine in order to solve the work within this block, in order for this block to be confirmed, and then it gets written into the ledger. And once the ledger is written to, and it's public ledger, everyone can see every transaction on it. It cannot be removed, so it's there permanently. Now you've got other coins such as Namecoin. I think so. Right? It does the same concept. The only thing is it has an additional value of having its own domain associated. It allows for different domains to exist as long as this cryptocurrency is out there, and that's called .io. So not only are you doing this, but you actually have an external value of being able to generate domain spaces with a coin. Then you have like within Bitcoin is Litecoin. And what Litecoin is just the exact same version of Bitcoin, but instead of confirmations taking, I think, 10 minutes, it only takes 3 minutes. So it's just a faster confirmation cycle. And plus, I think they allow for, I think there's a limit of Bitcoins of only having something like 11 million. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. Bitcoins in existence, once you're able to stop.
I believe it's a total of 21 million Bitcoins, okay. And each one of those 21 millions divides into 100.
Well, yeah. So there's only, these blocks have every couple of months or so. And so eventually it'll end up being, so you can't mine any more Bitcoins. So there'll only be a finite amount of Bitcoins in existence. Now, value of Bitcoin's going up, but I think they're going to end up going down in the long term, unless people would just want them around for like kind of nostalgic purposes because it's the first coin. But like every coin out there advances on this model of cryptocurrency. So LTC is just 3-minute confirmations. You've got VTC, which is it adds in it's basically the same as a Litecoin, except it adds in ASIC resistance. It changes the difficulty, or it changes the algorithm. So anyone who buys or makes ASICs, it's not going to be worthwhile for them for mining Vertcoin, and that's to prevent 51% attacks. And you've got within there, you've got like say Nova Coin. I forgot what Nova Coins was, but Nova Coin is kind of pretty much the same as LTC, except it also has another security feature alongside it with it. Oops.
How was the very first Bitcoin made?
The same way it's made now. I mean, yeah. So all cryptocurrency is an evolution of Bitcoin. Ethereum itself is just kind of smart contracts. It's the additional feature of a coin where you can trade the coin and all this other stuff. But what's important, what you can do with the coin, starts out with what their idea, how they're building it, and how it interacts with something that's digital. And you can change a couple things around with it, not how it operates, but how it works, and like to do maintenance on it. A lot of developers can work on that, but basically it's your own system. As long as people are using resources to solve these blocks, it will keep going. It will only slow down if you don't, but it's all theoretical. Eventually there's potential where Bitcoin could end up getting shut down because of its security flaws. But a lot of people are spending time and resources to make sure that won't happen. But then there's other coins that are going to end up replacing Bitcoin in popularity and usage, in trading, and potential value. Overstock.com, they were one of the companies that allowed people to purchase some of their products using Bitcoin, and they got so popular, and they probably have so much Bitcoin in their revenue stream. I think they're waiting that they're going to try. I think the latest rumor is they're going to try to open up their own exchange, so you can buy any type of cryptocurrency on their exchange, not just Bitcoin. Because the only way to get other coins instead of mining them is to buy Bitcoin and transfer that Bitcoin to an exchange. And within that exchange, if they support those other coins, trade for those coins using different other coins. So it's kind of a two-step process, which is difficult for most people, and they're going to want to simplify it.
So you enjoy cryptocurrency, right?
I enjoy a lot of things. But it's very volatile. The more you know, the safer you are. There's been exchanges that's been gone down. These exchanges they just steal people's coins, make off with it. People don't know where they go. They can't track it because it's one of the difficult things with cryptocurrency, to pinpoint to a specific person. And so you want to keep them in cold storage. I mean, I've never had an issue where I got unlucky because I don't store my coins in an exchange permanently. I'll do it for within like a small percentage of my coins, and that small percentage is still like anywhere from $5,000 to like $50,000 worth. But I keep it small because when the high trading occurs, they could shut you down. They could shut down or leave with it because all of a sudden, these coins are going up exponentially, they're going to want to say, all right, I'm a multimillionaire. I'm going to steal these coins and run away. All right. So you got to be prepared for it and not have that happen. So a lot of it you want to keep.
Why would you want to take the coins? Nobody wants the coins.
What do you mean?
It's what you can transition for them is why anybody would
Kevin,
want
do you know how much a Bitcoin is worth?
Isn't it, what wasn't it, 6,000, then it jumped up to like 18,000 or something like that?
Yeah, it's about 15,000. So if you had 1,000 Bitcoins within your own exchange.
Oh yeah, I like I said, I don't doubt that you can get money.
And I'm just answering your question. Why would you take the coins? Because it's worth something. You could steal it.
Why would you take money? Like, why would you take, like, if I gave you a $20 bill, why would you take it?
Because you can buy stuff with it. Not everywhere is Bitcoin accepted. So what most people end up doing is there are certain places
or selling Bitcoin or trying to monetize something in Bitcoin to exchange, correct? Something along those lines.
I don't think
they're trying to either.
I don't think you're
trade it for other coin, make nation state money off of it by exchange, or they're trying to monetize something themselves and sell something in Bitcoin or buy something in Bitcoin, like an item.
There's multiple things you can do, but I mean, it's all up to the person.
I know it's got the ledger system for exchanges and stuff like that, because that can be used more than one way.
What's your overall question? What are you confused with?
I'm just hearing you out.
Okay.
I'm just, asking questions.
All right. What is that, Snark?
This is 75 watts of solar power.
What is that? Hard to see.
Oh,
that's just the little panels. You got to solder them all together and set them up in series and parallel. Those things are brittle like crazy. What kind are they? Are they multicrystalline, polycrystalline, monocrystalline?
These are monocrystalline.
Mono. So the highest performance in low light. And do they have a coating or a laminate on them or anything like that to improve their durability?
This is them raw.
Raw.
Panels are much cheaper if you build your own from the raw components.
What are they flash rated at? Are they +5 or +10 or not? No, that's for the panels. The efficiency per each individual module, or not module, but cell.
I don't remember that. But
that adds to what you can calculate what the efficiency you're going to get with series and parallel.
Yeah, I've got 10% over that for other purposes. So it's not my only stack.
Oh, that's sweet.
So like,
how many cells do you have? Because I think you need 72. Well, yes, around 72 for 300 and somewhere around 300, 350 watts, depending on the cell efficiency.
These are 8 amp cells.
Those are what amp cells?
8 amp cells.
That's what they're capable of handling. Yeah. So you can probably make somewhere in the 36 range volt solar panel off of it if you wanted to. Just off of.
These double their efficiency.
What double their efficiency? You got a reflector? You're going to focus more light onto smaller cells?
Mm-hmm.
That works, but the heating. How are you going to deal with the heating?
That's another issue.
Are you going to have it inside of a case and run argon gas and use your gadolinium thing to concentrate heat down to power a generator to remove moisture from the air, concentrate heat, and then generate electricity?
Water cooling.
So 20th century.
No, water cooling. This is beyond water cooling.
This is still in the box. And then you need a frame to put them in. The frame's the expensive part. These could be like $25 a piece. So you just buy the frame pre-all cut up.
So now is that the box that Bitcoin came in?
Yeah. And a packet of ketchup.
So
I would have believed it.
All right, so I'm going to try to answer some questions in the chat. Bruins, I disagree with Bitcoin does. But some use it as an investment, but some use it to exchange goods and services. I bought things with Bitcoin at newegg.com, which is a big wholesaler for computer parts.
It's called what?
Like a wholesaler, like they like think
What
of
was the name of it?
Newegg.
Newegg. Thank you.
Let's see. You could buy more than Bitcoin. Shirley asks, Black folks don't have the capital to buy Bitcoin. Maybe not a Bitcoin, but a percentage. For example, you can buy 0.00005 of a Bitcoin, and that might be $25. If Bitcoin doubles, now that amount of Bitcoin is $50. So you can put in as little as you want. All you're doing is seeing a percentage of what that cost of whatever amount of coins that you have. Now, same thing with other coins. You'd most want to invest in other coins that are cheap. So you invested $1. Like this is an example. People can afford $3. People use $3 to buy a big meal for like Burger King. You know how much a Litecoin cost? And I think it was a year from now. I think it was $3. So that $3 now is almost $400. That one Litecoin a year ago, where if they skipped out on one meal and just bought a Litecoin, they'd have enough to buy that meal every day for a year by exchanging in for cash, for US dollars. Now, and I told my coworkers, friends, everyone, just invest a little into Bitcoin, Litecoin, even though everything's volatile. The thing is, all it takes is just one moment where it just explodes, and you're gonna at least double your money, if not make it like 16 to 20 times the amount that you put in. And not only that, unlike investing in stocks and whatnot, you're not going to have to pay taxes. It's not regulated right now. So the only thing is just knowing how to store it and keep it safe until you want to exchange it for something. I know a lot of people.
Are you familiar with sale pitches?
I'm not telling anyone.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible. Like the concept behind them and how they're orchestrated and how you.
Not really. I'm not really trying to sell Bitcoin. I get no money.
No, you're trying to. I mean,
out of you guys investing in it. I'm just telling people, hey, if you want to make money.
No, not. You don't get any money if somebody were like one of us were to invest in it. No, you do not get any money directly from that.
Yes. Okay. So
not directly.
Okay, your point is.
My point is, it's just like a stock. The more people buy into it, the more that. So indirectly, just by them buying into it, you inflate the price, which allows you to harvest more off of it, or allow somebody that want to.
See, that's a misconception, and it's wrong, Kevin. Because look, if I tell you to buy and it goes up, and I sell it to make money,
well, no, that's not
no, shut up. Let me talk. And it keeps going up. I made money off of it, and everyone else is getting stuff, and they could sell it, and it's just a cycle that repeats. Now, and if it keeps going up, this is like $50,000. I'm kicking myself. Okay, well, I just lost out on $35,000 extra dollars if I would just saved it. The thing is, I can't predict that. Now, what happens is, what I say is, invest now. Other people are going to invest in it, and that's going to grow. And when you feel ready to sell it, you sell it or use it. But I mean, I don't tell anyone to break the bank. I say, is $3 enough for you, Kevin, to invest in something?
Oh, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just
like, I'm not telling you to do anything. People have made money off of it. People, yes. The only ones who would probably lose money off of it is they don't understand it enough to keep it safe. They put it on exchange, they leave it there, and then all of a sudden they lose it. They don't know their password to their phrase, but to their wallets. But you can always keep that somewhere where it's safe. It's just like having someone say, hey, here's $100. I'll come back for it in 5 years and give you $1,000 for that $100. And then you're just going to have to find your own ways to keep it safe. So I don't know what you mean by the sales pitches, but like something you don't know is in the host chat, I'll say, hey, I'm going to put 4,000 in Candlelight Media. You guys, there's 8 of you guys. Just figure out how you want to. Yeah. And that's off of cryptocurrency. So I don't see you giving any money to anybody to help them grow, especially for this stuff. All I see you doing is asking these weird questions, sometimes butting in, not letting people talk or finish what they're saying. So, I mean, if you want to accuse me of something, fine, that's great. But if you keep doing it, but don't do it in some snide way. Just say what you want to say. I mean, I don't know sales tactics because I've never been a salesman. I'm not selling anything. I'm trying to get people to understand, hey, if you're going to invest, don't invest in the stock markets. That's a dumb market. I've done it. I made maybe $4,000 out of it by investing in like 1,000. Like it's basically 4 times, but it's still pretty bad. But cryptocurrency right now, so far, it's been valid for about 10, 11 years. So right now, I mean, maybe not be valid in the next 10, 11 years. But I already stated it's going to go into different cryptocurrencies because it's an evolution of coins and the way it's structured. And the next thing is, how are we going to want incentivize the growth of renewable energy? Because right now, just the renewable energy part isn't doing shit. But you know what? How much money has been invested into cryptocurrency, even Bitcoin? Hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. You know how much money has been generated off of cryptocurrency by owning it? If not multi-millions, but billions of dollars. You know, a way to grow and get people to start actually using renewable energies is incorporating cryptocurrency with it so people buy it, invest in free energy, and then they get some proceeds back. And then it stops all the banks from owning all the money and all the companies that do these types of wire transfers and all this that get a cut. You know, that could be all just gone. I mean, every time that imagine being able to store your own money safely. And we evolved to that point where we don't need banks where they're going to say, oh, I'm sorry, you have a late transaction fee. You've got under zero amount fee. You've got, an annual fee, all this other crap. So there's multiple bonuses in having a decentralized monetary system of exchange and not have to go through banks where we know banks have fraudulent practices. This cryptocurrency is just a tool. It's how you use it. No one owns it. And that's the entire premise of it, that it can't be owned or controlled. And so that's going to be thwarted. And there's going to be, corporations and countries that's going to try to do it. And this is why I'm so excited about it and want to invest time and energy into knowing more about it, which is I have. And so it's not a thing that I want you to invest. Like, I don't want you to right now, most of my money investment in stock is in AMD. Right now, I think it's still a good investment. It's only like $9 now. It used to be.
Oh yeah, AMD stock's probably not a bad investment. They just released a good product line that it lowers the cost for amount of CPU processing power, and that makes terrific sense.
Yeah, but here's the thing:
they're competitive stock. They're producing a good item that performs several functions from it's millions of types of automations to games to your mining crypto coins or all sorts of things you want. You know what I mean? There's so much you can do with it. I mean, but they've brought forward price cutting innovations to improve performance, and you get more bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
So AMD stock's probably reasonable to go into right now. They're doing well. For what I mean, hell, I was going to buy one of those CPUs.
It's a little bit different though when you're investing in a company and its stock, but
Yeah, a little bit different for the company wise, but with the more products and more alluring products they have, and they can sell them and make a profit off them, and people like them, enjoy them, and they have confidence in them.
And here's the difference between
really helps to build the value of it.
And here's the difference between a stock share and a cryptocurrency is you can't buy a percentage of one share. If there's like Nvidia, I think they're $300 per share. You can't buy a tenth of it and just invest $30 in Nvidia and get a payout. You can do that with cryptocurrency.
Yeah, you can't continually divide the shares, but I think you can only do that with cryptocurrency once, correct? I'm not 100% sure, but I know for specifically the Bitcoin though, 21 million are Bitcoins.
No, and you can do a percentage of any type of cryptocurrency. Okay,
just a specific actual percentage number. Okay, instead of like divvying out. But what you can almost kind of compare it, like the Bitcoin's 21 million, let's say you had 21 million stocks. All right, you can, that part you can kind of, there is sort of a way how it looks. All right, and then for the Bitcoin though, it can divide further.
It's just a whole amount is all that 21 million is. It doesn't mean you can only transfer an entire BTC.
No. You can transfer a part of one of those BTC.
Any of those. Of all of those. Yeah. It's called Satoshis. I think it's Bitcoin Cash is another thing. But basically, it's just.
So a Bitcoin is like a block with a bunch of pieces in it.
Because then that just gets the whole terminology wrong.
Oh, okay. But there is a limit to what one Bitcoin can break apart, though. Yeah. One individual mined Bitcoin can only break apart so much.
Yeah, it can break apart as however much you want. You can invest in 0.00001, whatever, as long as the exchange allows that. I mean,
so as long as the value keeps increasing, you can just keep adding zeros and do it pointing.
Yeah,
keep going more and more and more and lower and lower.
I mean, the exchanges are okay with it. The wallets are okay with it. It's just however it's structured for whoever builds the sustaining tools around it.
Okay, I didn't think. I could have sworn it was just 21 million Bitcoin, and then it divides into 100. I didn't think each one of those can further go into maybe that's why it fits with the 00, because it can go further than that, I guess. And each piece gets individually smaller and smaller and smaller of what that whole Bitcoin is. So eventually, there's 50 million owners of, one little piece of a single Bitcoin.
I mean, see, this is the same thing that conversation I had with everyone else maybe 4 to 5 years ago. And the only one who benefited was me, and no one else went into it because they thought it was a scam.
Oh, I don't know.
So I'm doing the same thing. So shut up, please, when I'm talking. So I'm doing the same thing now. I'm trying to explain to people what cryptocurrency is. So 4 or 5 years from now, when it does the same thing, that we're not repeating the same conversation, and you guys are just saying it's a scam, tulips or whatever, and make use of it. I'm trying to make people aware of a tool that they can use to something that they could also invest in, which it's not. It's like the wild west. Yeah, there's huge risks, but there's huge rewards. And if you don't want to go full into it, then just put a little in. Like I said, there are cryptocurrencies that are very that are still growing. Like if you put in $3, that $3, you don't have to buy an entire coin. You could buy a percentage of it, and that can just go up like 20 times. So you put in $5 times 20, that's $100. All you have to do is wait. And then, if it goes down to zero, then, it goes down to zero. But, that's the risk. But so far,
if it goes down zero, you're out $3. Yeah.
You can always cash out as percentage of it as it goes up and reuse that amount. So for example, your $5, it goes up to 50. Take your $5 out. Leave the $45 amount in there. You've got your money back. Now you're just investing with the money that you gained. You don't have to take that out if you don't want to. You just use it to reinvest. And that's kind of a concept that people don't think about is always just always spread the field. Don't put in more than you can put in that you can't handle, but just put in a piece. And then once it goes up, go and take it out. The drawbacks of stocks is you're going to be taxed on it when you take it out. And it all depends on whether you do it within a year or after a year. So no matter what, someone's getting a piece of it. No one's getting a piece of it, except depending on the exchange. You can even, what I do is sell stuff on forums where it's used goods. So directly with the people and you kind of have to trust them. But basically I've never been hurt by it, or no one else has either. But basically we cut away any fees. So they get exactly what they want based on the current market of, say, they want trading Ethereum. If Ethereum is $400 and the product is $200, I
that's one question I have.
$200 worth of Ethereum and give it to them. There's no fees. They don't have to, like PayPal. They would get fees, so they wouldn't get the full amount of $200. So with this, it surpasses that. And for me, for buying into crypto, there's pretty much no fee. There might be a small one depending on the exchange you go to. Go ahead, Kevin.
How do you resolve the blockchain? Because evidently each individual coin has their own sort of blockchain thing to it. How do you resolve the ledgers when you're transferring over and back and forth and in between through different currencies?
That's what the exchanges handle. Okay. So the exchanges, I don't know the details of it. Otherwise, I would have created my own exchange. The exchanges make millions of dollars, Kevin. If I knew that, I would have my own
take a small transactional fee.
Yeah. And initially, and
that's why they need the power to build the ledgers.
So, no, they don't have to worry about that. They just handle the exchange.
Oh, just is there a ledger of the exchanges like that?
Any transactions that have ledgers
individually have their ledgers, and I was just wondering how that's resolved. I don't know. I'm confused. Right when I can understand. Okay, I'll see the trail for the transactions between a Bitcoin for an item or something like that between a person, and for the block, the math problem that's created to do that transaction to create the bit of the ledger is produced through the mining practices, right?
The mining allows the resolving of blocks. So all the transactions within those blocks are confirmed to be written into the ledger. Hey, Blake, how's it going? Whew, maybe I'm not the greatest explainer, and I'm glad Blake is here because I'm pretty sure Blake knows all about cryptocurrency, so he could probably explain things a little bit better than me.
Okay. Yeah. So what I understand is when you're on an exchange and you're like buying and selling on an exchange, you're not actually using the blockchain until you're out of the exchange.
Yep, but I don't know what the mechanism. I mean, so for example, Coinbase or Wex or GAD, whatever exchange that you have, all that they have between like one currency going to another is a transaction ID, but that isn't public. It's just something internal within that exchange. So it's that transaction between different coins isn't in a ledger, but but that address of the coin going back out to somewhere else, there's a ledger for that. So they have an address. The exchange has an address where they receive it. That's written in that coin's ledger, and then that's coins just can go somewhere else, but they have their own transaction ID that they do, and then that other coin where they're sending out or something that has its own address. But I don't know the details of that.
So on the exchange itself, it's a database, and that's why exchanges can be dangerous, because if something happens to the exchange, they crash, or they go out of business. And if you have coins on an exchange, then you lose them.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, you're kind of going in and out with your.
Just could you repeat that last part, please?
So if something happens to the exchange and it crashes, it goes out of business, because they're not in your possession anymore, they're in the exchange's possession.
Am I the only one that's happening to?
No. Yeah, it's just the latency difference between here and I guess New Zealand.
He's been on before and it's been perfect.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry. Do you understand what I mean, though? Like,
I think I got the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're trusting the exchange with your coins at that point, and if something happens to them, then you lose them because you don't have them.
Yep.
So in a wallet, they're safer, but in an exchange, it's convenient to sell them if you need to.
Yep. And so you only want to use it for a short time. Don't store your long-term investments in an exchange.
Pretty much. And that's where you have like your hardware wallets or your paper wallets to be extra safe.
Yeah.
And it just started raining really hard.
Like there was an exchange that ended up stealing a lot of coins. I think it was Nice Hash. I don't know.
Mount Gox.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, true.
And also, like I use Wex.nz, and what they used to be was a BTCE, and they went down. And I had a few coins in there because I always have a few coins in exchanges, not entire amount. I'd say like 5% of my coins in various exchanges, just so I could, when something starts going volatile, I just go ahead and sell it, wait for it to come back down, buy more. So basically, BTCE went down, and so I lost my coins from there. And I was like, oh, great. Now what happened is they came back up, and all the coins that you had in there, half of it they were able to have because they had to do like an assessment of how much that they can actually have for people like that are still within their their storage, their wallets. But then they still lost some percentage of it. And in that case, they issued tokens. So I was able to trade the tokens in for maybe like 60% of its original value of 40% of the coins that I had there. So I didn't lose everything. And so that kind of gains an extra level of trust of the owner of that exchange. So that's kind of a thing that, like, I'm still not going to put in more than like 10% of my total coins in an exchange. But if I'm going to put my money in an exchange for a little bit, for like, say, a couple of weeks to a month, I'll I'll leave it in wax.nz, no problem, because of their prior history and their actions.
I think you might want to, maybe I'm not being an asshole or anything, but you're saying you want to take the money you put into it, get that out, and then use your coins, and then pull out the chunks that you want to keep, and then you can keep using your coins. Correct?
Yeah. There's a chance, like, initially when all this started, I poured into like $14,000 of my money into
you jumped
cryptocurrencies. Yeah, I mean, I did a little by little, and I kept going up, and then I'd sell, and then whatever. But basically, that evened out within the first 6 months of having coins. So everything after that I have now is stuff that I wouldn't have had if I didn't do the original investment. So that $14,000 I made back in like 6 months.
So are you going to take your investment that you've made and get a big pallet of solar panels, and then that way you can power all your shit, get your inverter, your charge controller, your batteries, your generator backup, your breakers, the whole shebang. I mean, you could I mean, if you're 1,300 for power bill, so in kilowatt hours, you probably had to have been pulling close to, God, if it's 11 cents a kilowatt, somewhere between 50 to 100 kilowatts a day.
In the early days of mining, you had larger coins per block. So the shares that you able to get back then was a lot more than you're able to do now, because blocks keep having the amount of coins per block. So back then you didn't even have to mine as much, and you get a lot more coins, and then you just wait. I don't know. Like, if you don't,
saying you can get pallets of pre-made solar panels at a pretty good discount.
Yeah, but at this point, it's just capital. Hi, Matt. So
yeah, so use it. Strut that capital around.
No, I'd rather use it for other things. I mean, like right now, if I just want to cash out and just go,
well, how is that not beneficial?
I could do the same thing and just do that, but I still have a lot of I like so many things about it that I know it's just a good long investment. I mean, I work for a company that writes financial plans for customers, and they think I'm crazy because I'm the only one who invests money in cryptocurrency. Everyone else is doing the traditional IRAs, 401ks, all this other stuff. I'm not investing in that stuff because that's, in my opinion, not a good investment. Maybe over long term, a certain amount, yeah, you're gonna get taxed for it. All of that's, but basically you're putting money that you make, you earn, and putting it back, and you're gonna be taxed on that eventually again when you take it out. And it's just a slower way of retiring, in my opinion. And who gets the bigger cut of that are the people in the financial industry. And you could lose it the same way as you do with any type of investment. I mean, anything that you do investment, putting your money, has risks. Doesn't matter how good you think that, say, I don't know, what's the safest thing you could think of in investing in, like bonds, maybe government bonds. I mean, that's only as strong as the government itself, right? So, and the thing is, you still spread your investments. I mean, that's just a good strategy, is to always spread the type of investments that you have. So if not, you're not just going to go for just pour all your money into 401k. You might want to do other types of investments within the standard retirement planning stuff. For me, it's
well, it depends on which retirement plan is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm young-ish, so I'm not worried. It's not like I would probably be fine with making what I'm making now, and so not worry about it. But then now I've got extra money, but I want to grow media so people can independently talk to each other and build platforms like this. And this would be the standard in kind of news and the way that we talk with candidates and politicians, because I can't go out there into a town hall because I've got 2 kids that are relatively young. Maybe when they're 18, yeah, I could go into town halls physically and talk, but the candidates themselves may not answer the questions. But here, if they're able to, they can. Then there's also the I don't know. There's so many things in here. We can discuss any type of topic that's pertinent and have people come in and view and listen to these, or watch them, or have presentations on it and give their own spiel.
So is my $50 worth of coins that's in Jax, is Jax a wallet, or is that an exchange?
I think that's an exchange. Jax, I never heard of Jax.
It's a wallet.
How do you spell it?
JAXX.
Yeah, it's a wallet. Where do you store that wallet? Oh, wait. Yeah, it's a wallet. You have on your phone?
The app, no. Should I?
No. Well, do you have it on your PC?
Yeah, I can sign in.
Okay. So that's the safest place. Now, what you want to do is you want to back up. It'll be wherever that your actual. So the tool might have it. So your application is back up your wallet and store that backup in a USB disk or also on another computer. Just so if your computer crashes, your hard drive fails, whatever, you still have the backup. So you could download the backup, install it on different machines, have that USB, and transfer it back to that wallet. So it'll have that. Go ahead. Sorry, Blake.
You can I think the Jax, it has a phrase, a backup phrase that you can write down on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Whoops, you cut out.
It has like a 12-word phrase for backup that you write down.
Oh, do they store backups in a cloud somewhere with Jax? Blake?
Sorry?
Do they store the backups of the wallet in a cloud somewhere? Is that?
No, it uses it's a common standard that lots of wallets use. It's called BIP38, I think.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And it's just encoding.
So I can get that last part.
It's just a way of encoding your private keys or something.
Yeah, but
into 12 words.
Okay. I thought they just stored it in a cloud somewhere where you could access it, where you don't have to back up your wallet.
I didn't see anything about a cloud in there.
Okay. I mean, that's good. I wouldn't trust a cloud. But basically, yes, back up your wallet. If your wallet will probably have a drop down where it says backup. So back up that. If not, find the location within your disk drive that has that backup and copy it and then store it on a USB disk. That way, if your hard drive fails or your computer crashes, you have your backup in your USB. And so if you get another computer somewhere or replace your hard drive, you basically install that application, the wallet, put that USB in, restore your backup, and then that way, you would still put in your password, and then you would have your coins still. So
okay,
you just have to always make sure you have redundancy.
So to be clear, sorry to jump in here, but to be clear, that encrypting your wallet and backing up your wallet are completely different things.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And real quick, I have the original Bitcoin application on mine, but wallets are nice because they can store several different kinds of crypto instead of just one. Correct?
That's what my Jax does, and not all of them do. Like, what is that other popular one?
Has anyone heard about one I just recently heard about was a Samurai wallet? If anyone hasn't already talked about it.
No, I've never heard of it.
I have a pun for it.
What is that?
Because it cuts your money in half.
James has started his show 26 minutes ago. We could go ahead and jump there. He'll probably have it. So an open topic, I think.
Okay, thank you. How do you do your name again?
Just Ebon.
Ebon. Okay, thank you.
So we'll see everyone there.
James has loud music blaring and he doesn't seem to notice. He's trying to talk, but it's like loud elevator waiting room music. It's just loud as all hell. He just keeps talking. People are trying to tell him in the chat.
So Blake and Matt, I know Matt, but Blake, if you don't know James's channel, I'll go ahead and post it on the YouTube link. So
see you guys over there.
All right, see you guys.